I'm just kidding. We would never do that to you guys. Somebody asked me before the show, after this last episode, hey, do you guys don't use like any intro music or anything? And I'm like, you know what the first thing I do when I listen to a podcast is?
Okay, I'm confused. I'm Nick.
I'm just jumping right in.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of the point.
Yeah,
It's Nick. I'm Dan.
You can't do that. We have a system. Even though I just couldn't remember the name system. No, I would love us to have like an intro. Like, I feel like there's so many people out there, especially like the YouTubers and stuff like that, that they have theme music. You know?
Yeah, but I told him, it's like, you know what the first thing I do when I listen to a podcast is?
Fast forward
through the 30-second intro.
Yeah.
You know what I told Haggerty when we had them as a sponsor? Our commercials can never be more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
They said, why? I said, because people can hit the 30-second skip button. And I was totally honest with them when I talked about it. It was because, like, look, this is why we do things like we do with S-Tech and Carter Automotive Group. We do their sponsorships, is that we do them in a way, and we pride ourselves on this, that hopefully the audience doesn't zone out.
Yeah, we're sneaky like that. You guys don't even know we're advertising to you.
Subliminal advertising. But no,
cheeseburger.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I mean, if there was like some featured artist or somebody local we could work with, sure, I would do that to support them, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't just grab a generic clip and put it in there, because then we would just be like, click, fast forward, click,
also,
fast forward.
we and Avants are cheap, so we don't want to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
there's that too.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, if I had somebody local to work with that I can sponsor, like a local musician, I mean, there's a lot of good ones in Seattle, of course. So I was thinking,
what you asked for.
Right. You come out of the woodwork. Kind of cool, though.
Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay.
Give me some banjos.
Hi.
Just mix it up.
So that would make you Dan then, huh? I'm still a little off.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Welcome to the Avants podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick. Okay,
Welcome
here we
to
go.
the
Whew. Okay, thanks.
How you been, man?
I was not okay with that for a little while. No, this ad lib thing, I'm not, survived Snowpocalypse 2024, I guess.
Yeah.
It was 10 times worse. I was up in Bellingham. It was 10 times worse up there. It was actually, and I don't know his name. I didn't get his name. The Amazon delivery driver that tried to deliver to Kate's house and literally almost slid through the garage. And it took us 3 hours to get him out of the driveway.
Oh, my God.
Because Amazon gave him a front-wheel drive van with no snow tires, and there was 1.5 feet of snow. And the kid tried really hard. We had a little bit of a language barrier. I forgot his name, but he was a really hardworking kid. And he basically looked at me in his poor English and he said, I'm calling my dispatcher and I'm not going to do anything else today. So, yeah. But, how are you?
I'm good. Speaking of the ice and snow, I talked about this on the Avants page, the Seattle page, actually. We had the Warren Washington Off-Road Recovery Network messaged me directly because they knew I was in the area and said, hey, can you go up by the fire academy exit? What is that? 60.
Were you actually on the fire academy side of the road? Or
the other side.
Okay.
Anyway, up that
38 or whatever.
38. Yeah, everybody goes up there. Yeah. And they said, hey, we've got a rollover vehicle that's down an embankment, and we just need you to go up there and assess and see if it's recoverable or if we should wait and call a wrecking crew, like an actual pro wrecking crew. So myself, Brian from the Washington Off-Road Recovery Network, and Brian Elich, I called Brian and I messaged our group and said, hey, if anybody's free, can you come with me? I'm glad I did.
Benji tried really hard.
Yeah.
I've never seen a man try that.
He really wanted to go. And so we did a 3-winch recovery on a double rollover. It was a Toyota 4Runner.
What, do you know the story behind it?
He was just coming downhill, and that hill was entirely iced over.
Is that the hill, the infamous hill where we towed the Suburban down?
No. That's Tinkham.
Okay.
No, so from what I could tell from the road, it didn't look like he was going too fast. Yeah. He was just full pressure inflated on ice on all season tires.
This was a 4Runner?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he hit that ledge, and because that whole road is off camber, he just did a slow roll down the snow, down the embankment, like 30 feet down, though. This was not a short.
He took the roll?
Yeah.
Oh.
Double rolled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he had 2 friends with him. Nobody was hurt. Everybody was fine. Thank goodness. It was a slow roll.
Yeah.
But obviously crushed the 4Runner, which was really unfortunate. And so we had to use 3 winches because it doesn't, the pictures and the videos do not do it justice. It was literally like probably a 65, 70 degree hill. Yeah. So, I mean, we had to vertically winch this thing up. So with my truck in the middle being the heaviest, and then we back anchored it to a tree from the hitch, and then the winch line down the middle, and then 2 winch lines on each side. And the reason we did,
so you can control it.
Yeah. So you can control it side to side. We literally had to pivot it around trees.
Sure.
And because it was off camber, if I had just pulled him straight, he would have rolled again down the other way down the hill. And we're glad we did. But because it was so steep, I didn't run out of power because I have a 12,500 pound winch, but the whole end of my truck, the whole rear end of my truck lifted up. pulling this thing up the hill.
Probably a pretty good thing you anchored it to a tree then.
Yeah, exactly. So,
sure.
well, once we started sliding a little bit, we didn't do that at first. We thought we might have to. Sure enough, it started sliding me forward. So we're like, nope. So we repositioned.
No need to go down and get it.
Yeah, let's not go down and get it. Yeah. So we pulled it up there. But one problem we found is all of us had soft shackles, soft straps. Everybody had more than enough gear, but you know what we didn't have? This is not the Carter tip.
Talent?
Talent,
No,
yes, but chains.
Chains. Okay.
And
for what?
people talk about tire chains, but we were pulling on a vehicle that did not have a rear hitch. And as we pulled the straps around the axle and the back of the frame, there was so much pressure on that strap, it actually cut through it. Now
it cut through the
recovery
axle
strap.
Cut through it, the axle cut through the strap.
There's like the frame rails were kind of sharp.
Yeah.
And because we were moving it side to side, it cut through the recovery strap.
Ooh.
And it let go.
Oh, fun.
Down off my winch line. Now, luckily, we had 2 more winches hooked up to the factory rear. They have these small recovery points. We didn't want to lift the whole vehicle from it, so we had it around the axle.
Did that move both of Brian's vehicles? The Brian's?
Yeah, the Brian's. It tugged them a little bit, but luckily we were controlling our tension really carefully. It was a slow, steady recovery.
Did you have them tethered, rear tethered as well? Okay.
They had to be tethered.
All right, nice.
So what happened, though, is obviously when something snaps at that kind of tension, remember, it's 12,500 pound winch, and it's at full strength. The truck's basically off the ground at this point.
But just to kind of reiterate, you had soft shackles. Your winch line is synthetic, correct?
All of our winch lines are synthetic.
Okay.
Thank God.
Did they drop? It just dropped.
Oh, yeah. So the snap came from, well, no, we still have kinetic energy there because we have the strap that broke, not the winch line. So if the winch line snaps, it just falls to the ground.
Yeah.
But I had the kinetic energy release from the strap under the truck.
Oh, okay.
So that did snap back. But because of the synthetic winch line, it didn't transfer any of that energy. It dropped and it flung back, but not fast.
Oh.
Let's put it that way. It kind of bounced by me. I was like, and we were all standing clear. We were all safe about where we were standing on the winch lines and things like that. But it was a pretty sobering moment out there, to say the least. That said, Carter Automotive Group tip. I'm going to throw this in there after this story. So I'm also packing for this trip, and we talked about it in the last episode. All these tools.
You're packing for
the trip to Phoenix.
Sorry,
to get the new truck.
I was like, you're packing. I get it. Okay.
And so I bought the specialty toolbox for the trailer. So that's going in the 20-foot enclosed trailer, and I got more tools. So Nick knows this, but I specifically was looking for. So what specific? I'll tell how you can work with me here.
Okay.
So what specifically would you be looking for in tools if they were going to be transported all the time?
Well, I would want them to come in protected boxes that they could then be transferred out of the boxes and into the tool chest.
Correct.
Yes.
So everybody hates blow molded cases, but luckily from Milwaukee, though, with most of their hand tools, they have these little inserts inside of their blow molded cases.
Yeah, which they charge a lot for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
wait, you went to the red side.
I prefer Milwaukee's hand tools.
You're keeping yellow at home and red's going on the road.
That's right.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not brand loyal. Everybody knows that.
The garage is very DeWalt, but yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of more. It's getting a little redder right here.
Yeah. For the red side, okay.
So I got these, but if you don't have that option, say you have really nice tools already, but they're in blow molded cases. Maybe you just don't want to spend another. Don't ask me how much for tools. I just like an excuse to buy tools.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, you don't need an excuse to buy tools,
right? If you don't, go look on Etsy. Go look on Etsy for the brand of tools you have and for foam inserts. And they know what they've got. They know how much you want them, so they're not too cheap. They're like $20 to $50 depending on how many, even up from there if you have a giant set.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a comparison. The set you're looking at, the Shockwave socket set, is $100, and the one I want is $200. You get more sockets, and I mean, mine has the pull-out sleeve.
Yeah,
but it's an extra $100 to get
$100, right? And so, if I wanted to go get a foam insert for my toolbox, so that I didn't have to carry the blow molded case.
You mean when you want to go get a foam?
Right. Yeah, when I order the foam molding, the foam box.
Keep it the way it is, Dan.
Because popular brands, DeWalt, Ryobi, Milwaukee, whoever, as long as it's a popular brand, you're going to find these foam inserts because people buy like a billion of the same set. Yeah. And so I was able to find one for, I think it's $35 on Etsy, foam molded. It looks like a factory Milwaukee piece. And now it'll just slide right in the drawers of my toolbox.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it's all locked away in the toolbox.
So did you have to then cross compare as far as how many sockets you're going to use and then the width and length of your toolbox to have it customized, or are you going to just cut it when it gets here?
No, they come like extra large, and then you just trim off the extra piece.
So you're going to cut it when it gets here.
Yeah.
Like that was one of my answers.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. So now I don't have to buy an extra. Well, one, I didn't But I would, if you need the pack out set, great. Spend the extra $100.
Sure.
Some of you in the professional trades may need that. I get
Mhm.
it. I don't. I'm just going to leave my tools in my trailer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to pack your tools around and not have them roll around your toolbox because they're in a trailer, do that.
That's why I leave mine in the garage. But yeah, so yeah,
I'm making my little mobile garage.
I understand. I look forward to using your mobile garage someday. Yes.
Yes. Now you got me thinking. I spent way too much time looking for mobile TV mounts that fold down from the ceiling.
What? It makes sense.
It does.
It really makes sense for the amount you're going to use that trailer and the places we're going to take that trailer.
Right.
I
We
mean,
got to go to Moab.
I want to watch a movie in the middle of a trailer in the middle of Moab. It's a dream of mine, Dan. Make it happen.
I'll just mount a server in there, and we can have unlimited movies.
Oh, jeez, yeah, it's not. Then we'll never leave the trailer.
Starlink on the roof.
We'll be like, Sean will be coming out there going, "Are you guys wearing pants?" Doesn't matter. Go
that
away.
would be a really weird question for us from my girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. It's not for her actually. To ask us, no.
What's that old joke? I finally married my best friend. My girlfriend's really mad about it.
Yeah, she would be. Yeah, she really would be. So. Exactly.
Girlfriend's really mad about it, but we think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's what it
We
is.
think it's funny. So,
We do have a guest this week,
yeah,
and he's a new Avants staff member.
staff member. So that means we don't have to treat him nice.
No.
Oh no. I mean,
Look at this jerk just
Yeah,
waiting
yeah.
here. He's all quiet over there. We're just like, shut up. We're not introducing you yet. No,
well, the
just
problem is, he tried to be an original person, but then he went and tried to steal my last name, and he had like one letter to it, and he thinks he's going to get away with this. So, yeah, which is weird because nobody has my name. So, and I cannot believe I'm stuttering on this, but Leif Bergerson?
Yep.
Okay. It should just be Bergeron. I'm just going to say that's a much better name.
brother from
One
another.
letter
brother
for-
from another
for a
mother.
bit better. Yeah.
Our DEI numbers are shit.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Well, it's good. It's a pleasure to meet you. This is actually the first time we've met Leif. He's the newest member. So what is your official new title, sir?
I am the new director for Southern California.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. And you were in Southern California, obviously, correct?
I am in what's normally sunny LA, which has been rainy LA recently, but yeah, born and raised, and yeah, love it here.
What is everybody whining about it raining in LA? I don't get that. Like, I know you guys don't get rain there that much, but yeah.
You
I'm
think you'd be
listening to your
happy when
snow
you did.
recovery stories, and I'm just like, oh, you have like, no, thank you.
Hey, you guys can get those too. Go up to the Rubicon right now, which is open in the winter, by the way. You guys have actually California has awesome off-roading.
Yeah.
It's just farther away.
Yeah.
So Leif, tell us a little bit
close
about.
to LA.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could do. What's the river channel that runs through LA?
LA River.
Yeah, that's fine. Just do that. That's probably dangerous and deadly.
People bring cars in there all the time. It's a great photo spot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
It's highly illegal, I think, but I would.
I would jump them.
I mean, and if you watch any good TV, that's the only way you get away from a helicopter in LA is to go into the river.
That's true.
Yeah, so everybody knows
That or a parking structure, which we just saw very recently. Motorcycles pulled into a parking structure in Santa Monica and got away.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
the
they
more
knew
you
they
know.
got away. They knew where they went, and they still couldn't find them. That's a lot. That says a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I'm on bike, I know what to do now. So.
There you go. There you go. So you're a rider as well?
Oh yeah, I don't even know how many bikes I've had now. Currently in the garage, I have a 2019 Ducati Hyper Motard, which is kind of the fun around town bike, and then building a 1984 BMW K100 into like a scrambler more cafe scrambler style of bike.
So you're new to the motorcycle scene. Okay, I get it.
Don't worry, we'll teach you everything.
Yeah. We'll teach you everything not to do.
I had last year I had a Tenere 700, a GS 1200, a few other bikes, but kind of never really use them on dirt in West LA. So went back to street.
He has commitment issues right there. Yeah.
No, Supermoto is the way to go down there. I mean, especially if you've got. Yeah. You have one of those as well? Is it dedicated Supermoto?
I had one. It's no longer with us, sadly.
Oh. Fair enough.
How he said so much and not saying anything. But Leif, give us a little bit of backstory on you, like where you're from and how you got into the automotive world and how you ended up part of Avants.
Oh yeah, so I'm born and raised in LA, so I guess West Hills, Calabasas area. As far as getting into the automotive world, I've kind of always been into it. My grandpa was an engineer in the Navy Corps of Engineers. My dad's very much into cars. neither of them really ever had anything too crazy, but my obsession every year for my birthday, I'd ask for a Hummer. My grandpa finally bought me a hammer because he did not understand what I was asking. And, it's one of those things where it just kind of went from there. And once I turned 18, instead of going to school full time, I decided to do part time and started working at an off-road shop. So I built my first 4Runner, kind of did like a mid-travel 4Runner, and realized that I loved vehicles even more now that I could actually drive them. Didn't love paying for all the stuff that I actually ended up doing to them, and realized that you can break them way easier. But it just kind of became a slippery slope. Went from that to figuring that it was kind of a bit too much coming home dirty every day. So I was like, you know what? How do I stay in the world and still do what I love? So I ended up buying a camera, faked it till I made it, and then became an automotive photographer. Got to travel all throughout the U.S. I worked for a few cool media companies. Ended up working with Larry Chen for a while, and he kind of brought me all over the place, showed me the ropes, and and then a few crazy cars later, and Jacob left Avants, and I took over for him. So
sweet.
To sum it up,
I was going to ask you. I started choking on myself for no reason. So you grew up in the off-road side. What do you still have any off-road vehicles? What are you still driving now?
So I actually did not have any off-road vehicles for a while, and then a month ago I just picked up a brand new 2024 Tundra, which is going to be the new project, and tow rig.
Sweet.
Wanted a Raptor, did not want to pay for a Raptor, but yeah, that's a different story. But and then I guess at home there's also like the family vehicle. There's a TJ Wrangler that's lifted, nothing too crazy, but that's kind of like the extra fun vehicle. But the Tundra is going to get the overland treatment this time.
Sweet. Classic automotive person. He's like, oh, I don't really have any off-road vehicles, but I bought a Tundra, and oh, by the way, there's a Jeep in the driveway. Like, you forget about half the stuff you own. You're like, oh yeah, I do own that. I own this. And then finding a project in the back of the garage kind of thing. So
forgetting about stuff's real. I just had to do the back fees on I have an E30 as well that I forgot I owned for about 4 years, including not paying the registration because it was getting a motor swap, and I left it at my buddy's shop. And he reached back out and said, hey, you need to pick up the car. And I was like, oh, what car are you talking about? And then lo and behold, I own an E30.
You're gonna need a little more information on that, please. Yeah. So when you say, does California make you pay like for the last 4 years, or you're just trying to get the registration up to date?
They do make you pay when you don't do non-op. I just transferred it out of state, so I did not have to pay, which is a loophole. And the car's got a S54 swap, so it's not going to pass emissions anywhere here in California anyway. So
nice.
Yeah.
No, it should. I mean, so
yeah.
I think is that the one that's on you? Is it gold, or what color is it?
So no, it's mine is kind of dark gray. So it's
gray. Okay.
Apparently it's a 1 year only color, graphite metallic for any BMW nerd out there. That's the only option the guy ordered, and it was one of the first few hundred E30s into the US. So
wow, got a little bit of history.
Oh yeah. I've owned it for like
Have
8
you
years now.
spent much time living in the California area in LA? Have you spent much time at the racetrack? Are you kind of into that with the bikes and or cars?
I haven't taken the bikes to the track before, at least riding. I've gone to the track with my buddies who've done like supermoto stuff, but I've never personally taken any of my bikes out there. I guess with I don't know. I'm kind of worried that I'm going to end up having the lack of self-control that I normally have, and the fixing Ducatis isn't the cheapest thing ever. So, at some point I will take that thing out there, but still, once I get the frame sliders and all that stuff. But yeah, car-wise, the other car I have is a turbo E36. That's a full, I guess, pro-am legal drift car. And so that one, makes about 500 wheel on 91, and that's gone to some of the tracks around, and I've seen some walls and seen some dirt and seen all types of fun. So,
well, that's part of drifting. I mean, if you haven't touched the wall, you're not really drifting.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm really good at drifting.
I touched the wall with
Except
the
the
front
drifting
of the car,
part.
though. That's not the end that you're supposed to do it with. So.
I mean, if you're going around, I mean, I can make up a good story, but
Power steering failure. Watch my belt shoot out. The car also doesn't have a hood, so it's really easy to diagnose it when you're driving it. So yeah,
Well,
so
that's
watch my
not good.
belt eject out of the front, and then as I initiated, I realized that it's really hard to go full lock on a car with no power steering, and then came up on a wall pretty quick. So
Just hear that conversation in the pits. I think I lost a belt. How do you know? Well, I watched it leave. You know?
yeah, GoPro don't
Actually, that's
lie,
really
so.
smart. Yeah. Don't put the hood on, you'll know it breaks real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
That's funny. All right. So working with Larry Chen, that's a pretty good name drop. Tell us about the career path there, because I mean, you've had some fun. It's a small car world even down there. I know everybody kind of knows everybody if you're in it long enough. But how did that go about?
So that was actually an interesting one. As far as fake it till you make it type of thing, I had just bought a camera. I was actually shooting, of all things, one of my buddies shot a lot of like EDM and nightclubs, and so he ended up not being able to do a gig. Passed it over to me. I had no clue what I was doing. Showed up, I was like, yeah, sure, and figured it out, and realized that I am not an EDM or nightclub person in the slightest. And so I was like, I gotta pay for this camera somehow. And so I was actually driving down Venice Boulevard. And we have a place called Race Service, and they had their gate open. This was before they had actually like opened to the public. And the GT4586, so Ryan Turk's Ferrari swapped FRS, was parked behind the gate.
Yep.
Saw that, instantly made a U-turn, pulled up, introduced myself as a professional photographer, as anybody does who owns a camera, and asked if I could take some photos.
Carl?
And and then they dug the photos, and they told me to come down later that week and as like a little intro, and that intro was Auto Enthusiast Day. So I guess my first ever automotive shoot was watching, Lauren Healy jump over Von Gittin Jr., Chelsea Denofa, Matt Power while they were drifting under him. And so that kind of opened my eyes and made me realize that I never wanted to go around music stuff ever again, and only wanted to do car stuff. And fast forward about 6 months later, I was at Grid Life, and it was my first ever Grid Life. And Larry, or I guess the guys over at Race Service, asked if I could jump in with Larry, and he could kind of show me around the cool spots. Hopped in a golf cart with him. We ended up hitting it off well. Joking around all day, and then a couple of months later, I get a call from him asking me if I wanted to join. And then a few years later after that, stuck around with him, and then lots of long hours, lots of kind of just travel, all that type of stuff. And I was looking for something a bit, I was paying for an apartment that I didn't get to really ever sleep in and all of that stuff. And at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna slow it down a bit. Ended up going a bit more into the corporate video side of things, and then realized that once again I need cars in my life for work, and that's when Jacob reached out, and now I'm back again. We're back.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna have no shortage of car content. With Avants.
Well, I mean, obviously, growing up in the California car scene, you've seen a lot of really interesting things. Now, you've talked about motorcycles, you've talked about off-road. Like, did you gravitate to some of the older cars too growing up? I mean, when your grandfather got you that nice hammer, was it a good hammer, by the way?
It was like a little Stanley one. Yeah, my grandpa, bless his soul, he was he'd always say to or at least I know now, he'd always turn to my parents and be like, I don't understand, why does he want a hammer? Why does he want a hammer? And I was just like, and then he got me one, and I was like, what is this for? Why did you do this? And, but I guess for me, the old school stuff, the only real, old school experience I had was when I was, I don't even know how old, probably 8 or so. My dad, our neighbors at the time, their parents, older couple, their parents in Colorado in a barn had a 1948 Ford Woody that was kind of rotted away, and my dad ended up getting it for a few grand. And we drove down to Colorado, picked it up, trailered it back, and we had it at the house. Him and I were gonna do the project, and then someone walked past, offered us an insane amount of money for it, and it was gone within like 3 weeks. And that was basically the only real experience I ever had with old school cars. Other than that, at least personally, of my own or family wise. Otherwise, everything's kind of been either more modern, or I guess the oldest car in the family is my '84 3 Series. So sadly, nothing too classic.
I don't know, sadly, it's a lot less work. And unless you got the shop space, it's going to pain in the ass.
Well,
You can
especially the
fix it
woodies. I mean,
yourself.
you can restore a car like that, but restoring the actual wood on that is the hardest
You need a
part.
mechanic and a carpenter.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that I think my dad also bit off a bit more than he could chew and was realizing that. And when they came by and offered, I think it was like 10 times the amount that he ended up buying it for.
It's a
Which
good
I don't blame him.
investment for letting it sit in your driveway
Yeah,
and driving
no
to
kidding.
Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, I at the time I was a bit sad, and everything, but yeah, no, looking back as an adult, I do the same thing in a second. So
Same here. It's always more fun, at least I shouldn't say it's not always. Depends on who you're talking to. For me, it is more fun to do a new car project or a new build, like doing a new motorcycle and making it your own, a new car and making it your own, than it is for me to do a restoration project. That might change as I get older and have more time. But for now, I can't see myself going that direction just because it's so much work.
well, getting to fix something that's not broken is awesome. If you're just putting all the parts and all the labor and all the time into actually adding cool things on, as opposed to fixing either somebody else's work or just broken things or having to just get it back to even a starting point. Yeah, no, it's nicer to do it that way sometimes.
I think after, doing the builds on the bikes and mountain bikes and then doing the Triumph, I think that from an ADHD standpoint, I like doing new stuff because I can get the parts right now. I can get them on the bike. I can get going. When I was restoring the Triumph, it took us 5.5 years, and you'd order a part or you'd have to make a part, and you have to have the space to work on it, and it takes a lot longer, and my brain doesn't work that way. So I think I'm a lot along the lines of what you said. I like the new stuff. That being said, Dan and I have talked about it a lot about finding an older bike and fixing it up or, flipping it, and which sounds fun to me because I think that if I could plan it well enough, I could get everything and then be happy.
There definitely is more appeal in doing that with a motorcycle than a car. Like I said, that might change as I get older or I have more space. But right now, I can't afford to put out a whole space in the shop just for restoration. Yeah, I need the storage. So the bikes are fun, though. I mean, I follow a bunch of restoration channels on YouTube, and there's that one guy out of I think he's out of Ireland. RRC Restoration. He does a ton of motorcycle stuff, and he's got some really cool motorcycle stuff. But
a lot less space to restore a motorcycle.
Yeah, there's a guy I work with.
Bike?
Depends.
For every day.
Oh no! If you're going to restore something, if you could restore your dream bike.
I want to try in Faunaville, and I want it to be British Racing Green to match my Triumph TR3. Yeah. So that's my.
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far back. I love the Bonneville. Don't get me wrong; it's a classy bike. But I actually really want to buy, restore, and maintain like a Ducati 996.
Sure.
The last of the great body styles of the Ducatis, in my opinion. Not the last, because I think the new ones are beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but I would say it's to what the Lamborghini Countach is to cars. It's like, this is what kind of my generation saw growing up and was like, that's the perfect sport bike. And before that, it was all the Japanese bikes, the Ninjas and things like that. But I think Ducati knocked it so far out of the park when they dropped the 916. Or it was like, oh my God, that's so amazing with the single-sided swing.
I was going to say that had the single-sided.
Yeah, the tucked-up tail pipe exhaust. Like, nobody had done that before. And looking at the new bikes, no, it's not as efficient. But man, is that such a landmark piece of motorcycle. And the 996 is probably the only one you can ride without it breaking every 500 miles. So, because the 916, great bike, not so reliable.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Learn something new. How about you, Leif? What's the dream restoration project, or are you already doing it?
No, I mean, the K100 was definitely more of a, I got it for the right price and kind of just love the way they sound. Honestly, if I could do anything, it would be, and this is the other thing my dad also wants one, it'd be either an R80 or R100 Paris Dakar. And then do something like that, go a bit more adventure-y and, just have the Iron Pig or whatever they're called and just go everywhere. Do anything and never break.
I was talking to a guy that used to live in Issaquah, and I forgot his name, and he was restoring like a mid-90s Kawasaki KLR, or what did I have? KLR
650.
Yeah.
What did I have?
And I remember looking at him going, why? Well, I just like these bikes. But I mean, I owned one. I get it. But I mean, but they're pretty much bulletproof. But I'm like, why are you like? Are you gonna? Is it sentimental? He's like, no, I just, of all the bikes I want to restore, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, cool. Like I didn't quite get it, but
So they made a diesel military version of that bike,
it was not the diesel military version,
which I would do. I was
but really hard to start if you watch Beards and Bikes.
Right. Yeah. I was going to actually, what came to mind, the other ones I would love to restore is I would love to have the trifecta of the Honda RCs, the RC30, the RC45, and the RC51. And I had an RC51 and I loved that bike for the way it sounded. It was heavy and even at the time slow, but it was such a cool bike to ride. And I've ridden an RC45, but I've never ridden an RC30. And that VFR 750R, man, it's just same reasons. Single-sided swing arm, sexy race bike at the time, a really landmark kind of vehicle for Honda.
Interesting. Okay.
I would love to have that trifecta in my garage, though. And the great thing about motorcycles is they don't take up a lot of space. So you can have like 4 instead of 1 car.
You actually fit 8 of them. I tell my girlfriend that all the time. 8 bikes fit in 1 parking spot, and she does not like
exactly. Mine doesn't want me to have street bikes, and so I have dirt bikes now, and we have our Honda Monkeys, but which I understand. I don't actually enjoy riding on the street that much, but anymore because of the people around here. But I would like to have them as a collection to ride on a sunny day for a short ride, at least just to get out there again.
Yeah, for me,
I have the self-control.
So I hop on the bikes. I'm right next. I'm like 3 blocks from the beach. I hop on the bike. I blast up PCH to Malibu with some buddies, and it's pretty hard to beat that. But I totally get the not riding on the street thing, because especially out here, no matter where you are, people suck when it comes to driving. So
I don't think I would have the same self-control if I lived in California, to be clear.
I know I wouldn't. I know I'd be.
Like here, it's like, oh, it's raining for the 50th day in a row. I don't feel like riding. Down there, it's like, oh, it rained for 5 minutes. I can ride tomorrow. Sweet.
Basically.
I think my problem is if I lived in California and had a bike, not only would I be riding it all the time, but I'd be the guy like, I'm going to go to the store in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops, like, just looking for a reason to get new skin kind of thing. So I'll be fine. Worst case, I get hit by a Ferrari. Win-win.
That's good insurance. So you're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we don't like to talk about it because I don't feel like we should.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were in Idaho and McCall, and where there's no helmet laws, and we're only riding downtown McCall, like there's nothing there. Like you're going like 5 miles an hour.
Are you really about to tell this story on a national podcast?
It's really liberating to just roll into town, and then we're on monkeys. We're on little bikes, and the speed limit in town, because there's so many people, is literally like 5. We could walk faster than we rode. But you're like, man, okay, I can see why people do this. I'm not going to go on a high-speed ride on anything ever. But it was really nice.
But then you know guys in Florida, and they're on the highway on a Gixxer, and you're just like, what, with sunglasses, and you're like, that's no.
But
looks hurt.
Where Dan was going is we all had a serious conversation where we're like, well, we could really ride without helmets. Like we really could. Like it's a warm summer night, and like we're in shorts nice. And like we're on small. Absolutely, the wind in my hair, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, though, the first time you get hit in the forehead by a bug at like 10 miles an hour, I'm like, no, this sucks.
Yeah.
See, I've rode through 3 swarms of bees now on my bike, and so I can only imagine every time I've been seen it last minute, instantly flip down the visor if it's open, but I can only imagine without a helmet how much that would suck.
Yeah. We had a really good buddy that drove through a swarm of bees in his Volkswagen with the windows open. It did not go well.
Volkswagen bus with the front windows come open? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So many bees. Yeah.
It's a good story.
Boy, it's dark all of a sudden. That cloud's really dark and buzzing. I don't understand that. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry your girlfriend doesn't understand your love of motorcycles and things like that. Does she share your automotive hobby? Does she enjoy cars and things like that?
She, yes and no. She'll go in the car with me. She loves the Tundra. It's nice and quiet. She does not like the E36 because it's a hood exit and shoots flames about 1.5 feet out just straight in the passenger side. So, and once that thing starts spooling, she just grabs a roll cage. So that's an experience that she's not the biggest fan of. I literally just got the E30 back, and that actually has an interior, so we're going to see how that one goes. She does ride on the bikes with me, but she definitely cool. She supports everything, but she is not as much of our partaker in my stupidity and irresponsible money spending or hobbies. So
See, I'm lucky. My
You know-
girlfriend's way more irresponsible with her car money.
But if you listen to the words he used, somebody has said those exact words to him.
Oh, true. Yes.
My girlfriend's a
I love
lawyer,
you,
so
but
I know how this
Yeah.
works.
I love you, but your irresponsible behavior is not something that I'm in love with.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Good to know.
I hope you had fun on your ride, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No self-incrimination today, boys. Yeah.
Who's Ashley? I'm buying a motorcycle from her. I swear.
I'm literally the meme, like
Yeah.
your man's or you're worried about your man talking to other girls, so she's worried about me going to the junkyard or looking on Craigslist and OfferUp and all those. Yeah, that's the real threat in the relationship. I had a bad habit.
She's out there counting bikes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had a really bad habit, or I don't know, bad habit. I mean, for her, considered to her, it's a bad habit. For me, it's awesome. But every time she'd go out of town, I'd buy a new motorcycle. And she goes out of town once a year, so it got to the point now though that, or like a couple times a year, like long trips when she'd go, I'd buy new motorcycles, and so I definitely got scolded and can't do that anymore, sadly. But
Another great conversation. No, that was there before you left. I swear.
You get enough of them where they don't notice when they come and go. That's the goal right there.
I had a friend of mine growing up that had that problem, and his wife would go out before she'd leave town, and he didn't realize this until she caught on. She would chalk around the rear wheel of the bikes, and then when she'd come back, if there was a new bike there, he's like, "Oh no, it was there before. No chalk mark."
it only works once though.
Well, I mean, he didn't catch on for a while. Like she was onto it. Like,
Oh yeah,
So
I
it
guess
was-
she's not giving up the secrets. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was one of those things like where we went to clean out the garage one day, and I think we were all pushing bikes back in, and I go, "Oh, does these chalk marks mean where the bikes go?" And he goes, "What chalk marks?" And I'm like, and I looked at her, and I'm like, "Oh, I get this." So yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would have to talk about bikes. Actually, not monkeys. She wouldn't care about dirt bikes and monkeys, but she's way more likely to show up with a different car than me.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
And you have
I
no
don't have
love
the
affiliation
space.
with any of your cars.
That's
Yeah.
my issue, at least right now. We live in an apartment and we have a one-car carport. I've got 5 vehicles and she's got one. So already it's one of those things where she will notice. Luckily for me, we're almost closing escrow right now on a house that has a big old backyard and everything. So there's plenty of room for activities. So she,
Hey,
there's.
honey, what do you think if we just poured a bunch of cement instead of grass?
No, that's genius on her part. She got him to buy a house, and his loan officer is going to look at him and go, "Don't buy anything right now."
Yeah.
Until we
that's
close.
true.
Until
That's right.
the minute you close, you're good to go. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Oh, well, the good news, bad news is that houses are like toolboxes. If you have space, they just keep filling up. Same with garages, same with property.
Yeah, so we don't.
I mean-
Currently, the house doesn't have a garage, and she has agreed to let me build a 3-car garage.
Score.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a deep one too, because that's three cars, and who knows how many bikes I can cram in there. So,
How many square feet you thinking?
ooh, I'm bad with numbers.
3-car garage, probably 30 by 30.
I think I'm thinking honestly. I was thinking more in like the 1,000 square foot range or something, because I want a little workshop area.
Yeah, double it. Trust
Yeah.
me. Learn from my mistakes. Build whatever you think you need, double it.
Double
and
it,
then
give it to the
scale
next
back as
person?
needed. Yes. Well, you'll run out of space. You'll be like, oh, now I have room for this tool and this bike, and I should put a lift here.
To be fair, though, Leif, Dan thought he had enough space, and then his girlfriend went out and bought an R8 and filled the space up. So
Yeah.
that's not really your fault. You
I know.
thought you had enough space. So.
I did have enough space.
Yeah,
so
you
now
did.
there's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
freaking supercar in here.
I told her I was going to
My
get
life is hard.
stackers, so that opens up even more possibilities. So one
That
of
is
the
the way to go.
requirements, I'm doing tall roofs and tall garage doors. So
Perfect.
oh yeah,
Can you get stackers? They're solid plates, so you can put multiple motorcycles on there, right?
Mhm.
That works. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Up to 8, I hear.
yeah.
You can get
just hang it from the
motorcycle adapters.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get motorcycle adapters for your stackers. So they
Yeah.
go in and they just clip in. So they're standing straight up, and then you just put them front
nice.
width, so front, opposite. Then you can stack them really tight.
Yeah,
We
I'm
used to do that in
100%
Motorcycle Shop.
not letting her listen to this podcast.
That's fine. Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, wait, what does she drive?
The
Oh,
Jeep. I think
the
it was
most
in, right?
interesting thing, she has a electric Chevy Bolt. So
Huh.
very
Well, it's in the city.
practical. It's It's boring but practical, and we accept that. That's the street car, so that just lives out there.
We accept that
I
begrudgingly.
I always.
Well, honey, you're saving the environment, so I have to buy another motorcycle.
Oh, I offset it completely. I totally offset the carbon footprint. But I do want to get her.
Your car burns no gas, mine shoots flames.
Yeah, I want to get her something a bit bigger, bit cooler. So I'm thinking Cayenne diesel.
Oh yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's really the trick. You got to get them behind the wheel and fall in love with it, because everybody's a car person once they find the right car.
Oh, yeah.
Until they do, they don't get it, and then once they do, it's like, oh, that's it.
I'm like, you've never even driven a GT3 RS. How would you know? You know,
right?
Yeah. So
that's a good one though, because once you get behind there,
no, I loved it long before I drove it.
yeah, but we've always been car people.
Yeah.
Like I can take a non-car person in a GT3 RS, and they know they're in something special.
But there are those people. If you take somebody and try to make them like cars, and they come back to you and go, "I want a Prius," you don't need that type of negativity in your life.
That's
and
true.
Move along. Just move them out of your life. So
some things just aren't worth it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The new Prius is a lot less awful. I didn't say good; it's just a lot less awful.
It looks cool. I dig it.
It does. It looks way better than anything else.
You slam them.
Did you see?
I like them when you slam them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't.
I wanted to like him. I really did.
No, he's right. The new one is a huge
I didn't say
step
I'd buy
up.
one.
No, it is. No, okay, all right, fair. Did you see that new like $10,000 truck that Toyota introduced this week? It's like a new version of the K truck kind of thing.
If only we got it
U.S.
here.
market truck, or
I don't think it's going to come to the U.S. market.
No, I think it's Asia.
What is
what
it?
were you saying? Yeah,
But it's like to me, it's like a new K truck, like which means we'll get it here in 25 years. It's fine.
that makes sense. They make new K trucks. Yeah,
So yeah,
ticks me off. Like, just make them limited use. Like, don't make them highway legal like they did with like there's some motorcycles that aren't highway legal. Do the same thing with a small truck and bring it over here. Like, don't give it the same crash safety standards, because that's so useful. Like, how many people? There's so many people I guarantee who do not ever really need to go on the highway. Like any small tradesman in a city, like, will never need to. They just need something small. It's easy to get around. Because I would buy one in a heartbeat.
I mean, I tell you, as I look more and more at trucks, like I'm kind of with him too. Like that new Tundra is
it's
sweet.
Nice. Yeah.
The one I bought, I didn't even. Or so the only options that I wanted when I was looking for one is I wanted the rear locker and the TR, like the off-road package. So I wanted the crawl control and all the goodies. And so yeah, I got the 4x4, all that stuff, and I didn't realize I got one of like the last ones that was available at the time in SoCal when I picked mine up, and at least for that week. And it came with like all the self-driving, like the lane keep, the LiDAR, like cruise control, and all these things. And normally I'm the type of person where I'm like, I don't need that. I'm not going to do it. I didn't even know it had it when I went and bought the thing. So oh my god, it's
that's pretty nice.
It goes all the way to a dead stop and then starts going again. It's game changer. I'm basically in a test. I'm in a Cybertruck.
It will make you a worse driver. I have eyesight in my Subaru Wilderness, and like there are times where I'm like going down the road and the car's driving and stopping and going, and I'm on my phone. I'm like, I can't be doing this. So be warned. Yeah. But I mean, good for you on getting a huge truck, because I mean, what the bed of a Tacoma or Tundra? How many bikes can you get in there?
At least three.
At least three.
Yeah. Comfortably.
Yeah. So I mean,
tailgate down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a really nice truck.
Faster
I was
than
gonna
a
ask you said
Raptor,
you were already planning. I do love my Raptors. I no complaints at all. I can't wait for my new one. What you said you were gonna mod this thing? I'll do the full overland thing. What are you doing?
So I learned the hard way with the last truck. So with the 4Runner, I'd put like full Kings, Cambergs, all the goodies on there, and I ended up bending the rear axle at one point, launching the thing like 70 feet through the air. So I learned the hard way.
That can happen in any neighborhood.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And it's especially once you have kids and you're late for school. Not that I have kids, but I was just like, this is going to end up happening all the time. So I realized I have no self-control. So instead of putting something that's capable of doing that, I decided to put something that was a bit more tame. So I went. There's a company, Ironman 4x4. They make great stuff. So I went with their lift kit, the 3-inch lift. So that's already been ordered. Otherwise, the only things that so that's the only thing I've bought so far. The truck's a month old. Otherwise, what I'm planning on doing is I want to do their front bumper or do the C4 Fab front bumper on it. I have a 12,000-pound winch waiting for it. I'm going to put sliders on it just because you got to put sliders on anything. Otherwise, cheaper to put sliders than crush your frame rails or running board, whatever those
Rockers,
are called.
yeah.
Rockers. And then other than that, I got a whole bunch of lights from my Forerunner still laying around that I was going to throw on it. And what else was I going to do? I mean, or I guess, wheels
the
and
base
tires.
is covered, that's for sure.
Yeah, wheels. There's nothing 35s go on it without cutting or doing anything like that. So I was going to throw those on there. It's already got a bed rack and my rooftop tent on there now. That was, I guess, the other thing I put on it. And then otherwise, there's not too much else you really need to do to them. I feel like that doesn't become
even
very
that's
slippery
that's a lot. Yeah.
Now, this may be kind of a loaded question, but do you run into anything that you want to do that California tells you can't do? I mean, most of that's engine stuff, correct?
Yeah, so California, the only restrictions are emissions. You can do, I guess, like for lower cars, the bottom of the car has to be above the bottom of the lip of the wheel. But otherwise, and I think for trucks, as long as if you do like one of those like 60-inch lifts, like the SEMA trucks, you have to relocate like the headlights. But otherwise, we don't really have any laws that aren't anything other than emissions. And honestly, this thing makes almost 400 horsepower, almost 500 foot-pounds of torque. So
there's no reason to. Yeah.
I don't need it.
Interesting. Look forward to it.
Check out Descent Off-Road for that bumper, by the way. I had one on my Land Cruiser. It was really nice, and a lot of people have been going to those off-road just because they have a really nice clearance and they're modular. So
I'll check to see if they make one for this thing then.
Yeah.
Just be prepared to bleed. I mean, that's any front bumper installed. But I mean, we left a lot of blood in the front of that bumper.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
Lots of pieces of metal. That's all. But
I mean, that was the one thing, at least for me, when I was working at the off-road shop, I was an installer. So I did all the wiring, all the everything. So everything when it comes to doing the stuff on the trucks, I'm confident in my ability at least, and as long as I have a place to do it, I'll be happy, blood, sweat, and tears at least.
I understand that. I used to do that stuff back in Spokane. Like, it was from window tint and bed liners and installing all kinds of stuff. And you come home and you're just filthy, and you're like, it's fun to do. Like, it's fun to sit there and go, okay, how am I going to route this, or where can I put this light, or how can I make this interesting? But it wears on the body, and you're constantly dirty. So, from somebody else's dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'm doing on the new Raptor that I didn't do on this one is more lights.
More lights? Okay.
More lights.
Yeah.
I have the bumper lights from Baja Designs in it now, and I'm not wishing I did it, but I wish I'd started with doing the roof lights, because where I need the light most is up high, off-road in the desert, and that truck is so high that I underestimated how valuable a high-mounted light bar would be. I'm not going to make that mistake this time. So I'm going to try and do the Baja Designs linkable ones before I even leave Arizona with the truck.
I use that one more than any other light.
Yeah.
I need it, like especially in fog and stuff like that. Even more than the lower light with the orange one.
Yep.
So,
and I'm going to mount some pillar-mounted 6-inchers.
Nice.
That are both going to be pointed directly at the other lane for people who don't turn off their brights. I'm going to make them wish they were blind.
High beam battle.
Boy, yeah. Or their ditch lights,
Yeah.
for ditching.
Yeah, so they can drive into the ditch. I don't care. I'll say the quiet part out loud. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's the lights that I have waiting for mine. I've got 4 of the ARB like 9-inch intensity.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, so I got some of those, and I have like 3 20-inch light bars and like a few like the rigid dualies. I had a bunch of lights on the Forerunner, so I'm just gonna strap those things everywhere. You get a light. I'm gonna be like Oprah.
Everybody gets lit.
Yeah,
in a good way. Everybody gets lit. Yeah.
Adding lights like Oprah's giving them out.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
What's under your seat?
Well, you can use that as a security.
Yeah.
You use it as a security system. Just turn on all the lights at night, and it just lights up your whole neighborhood. You're good. Yeah. You know where everything's at.
So I have remote start, and mine are wired. If I have my lights, they're on the upfitter switches, and if you have remote start, the upfitter switches still work. Like the headlights don't turn on.
It puts power to them.
Yeah, it puts power to them. So I have made the mistake of like remote starting my truck while looking at it and forgetting I had them on for the night before, and I'm like,
it burns. It burns. Nice. So obviously, taking over California, you got some big shoes to fill there. I mean, what are you looking to do with Avants down there?
So for me, I just want to do a lot of. I mean, luckily with me, I have a big background in the automotive world, so I know a lot of cool people. I'd love to bring. I guess a lot more exclusive access to things. So, a lot of things, I guess, private tours and stuff like that people just otherwise wouldn't get. So I know we do a lot of that type of stuff already, but just reaching out to a lot of my connections. I want to do more clinics. I also want to incorporate a bit more of the off-road stuff in there. But yeah, overall, I guess a little bit of the same, a little bit of new. I don't know exactly how much I should spill the beans before things are locked in necessarily with anybody.
No, I don't want you to spill beans. I'm just, I know you have, you've been in this car community so much, and you're going to have so many opportunities, and so I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So.
Yeah, and then also, for us, definitely not that racing is our main focus, but I do want to incorporate a bit more, racing type of stuff, whether it's people actually going to the track or, just actual professional racing things that we get to experience for ourselves. Because, there's nothing cooler than being, like Long Beach Grand Prix, which is coming up. We have a presence there. That's one of those things, actually getting to see it all, that can convert anybody who's not a car person, but also smelling, feeling, hearing, all those things when you're there, it's pretty magical. So
yeah, there's a ton of stuff coming up at Laguna Seca right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know they dropped it. There's a bunch of they've been fighting building around there for years.
No. There's a huge. I just was
a lawsuit.
In fact, I messaged. Lawsuit. I was Hoovy's Garage just did a big thing on it. It's funny because he started another channel with his girlfriend, and they said it wasn't going to be about cars, and it's been nothing but cars. There's a huge. They're trying to get all the grandfather laws taken away from Laguna Seca. They're trying to get rid of it.
I mean, it makes sense.
Of course they are.
Like you have a racetrack that's been there forever, so you move in. So of course you should have the right to kick them out. That's just how it works.
Totally.
Yeah, totally makes sense to me. Yeah.
I'm here now. You should listen to what I'm doing, not what you used to do. Since what they were racing along 17-mile drive in 57, something like that. So yeah, God, I would not want to do 100 miles an hour down 17-mile drive.
I would with no houses on it. It'd be awesome.
Have you seen some of the trees down there? No, thank you.
Depends on what you're in. I mean, back then, no.
Yeah, true. Well, okay, maybe the monkey.
Yeah,
not doing 100 though. So okay.
Well, I hope you do. I hope you do take off with the off-road stuff down there. I mean, that's a huge market in California, especially because you guys have such diverse terrain. It's obviously not as close as it is here, but it's worth the drive out there.
Oh yeah,
because as soon as you go to the city, there's nothing out there, and beautiful country.
And LA is the biggest aftermarket community in the world. So whether it's and automotive in general, I want to say in California, there's more Porsches in Cali than there are in Germany. So I'm pretty sure that's the actual statistic.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where, between just the car people, and I mean, depending on where you are, and LA is also one of the biggest, I think, like geographical cities that you could possibly go to. It could take you 2 hours just to get across it, and you're still in the county. But I mean, we definitely have some cool stuff. So especially now that I have the truck, I'd love to incorporate off-road. And now that I know you guys are big off-road guys, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, reach out to the guys at Snail Trail Off-Road. The guys from Morphlate have their own podcast, Snail Trail Off-Road. We're big fans. And their Morphlate compressor, by the way, if you need a compressor, I got to test it out this weekend. I got the new Morphlate Pro twin cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And guess how long it took me to air up from 18? 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
I thought I was like, oh, did I mess it up? Did I turn it off? No. 4 minutes.
That's insane.
I just set the pressure, walked away, and it was done.
Is the duty cycle?
All 4 tires.
You can do it all in one go?
Yep. And it automatically pauses to let the pressures even out because it's those guys understood that it was going to be used with a 4-tire inflation system, which is really smart. So it goes up and it runs for like a minute and a half or something, and then it pauses for like 15 seconds. It just stops, equalizes the pressure, then fills it again, and it does it. I think for every minute and a half, it automatically pauses for just a few seconds, and it just keeps going. But the best part is literally just set the pressure, walk away, and then it's just done. Like I don't even have to come back and look at it. It's just set and forget.
Well, okay, you're making me think of like 80s and 90s commercials, like set it and forget it.
Yeah,
walk away. Like also the minute Leif said, he's like, there's so many Porsches in California. I'm thinking, yeah, but there's so many people there that think they just drive a Porsche, and that's the problem.
That is a common battle that I get with a lot of people. They're like, no, that's not how you pronounce it. And I'm like, I don't want to ever talk to you.
That's okay. They probably saw Beamer, BEAME.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, BMW is a Bavarian British Motor Works. That was for a long time. Makes a lot of sense.
Well, as far as
so the German BMW,
with the BMWs though, I think, and I might be completely wrong, and I've only owned 11 of them, so I should probably know this, but Bimmers are the cars and Beamers are the bikes. Technically,
there is. Again, I should know that too with the amount of BMWs I've owned. And
Coming up on your next Carter Automotive.
there you go. There you go. We will answer that. We will answer that question.
We will
next
answer
week.
that
Yeah,
question.
absolutely. Yeah. There you go. Thanks for setting that up. I appreciate that. So good. I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I don't, and I can see it both ways in my mind. So I don't know. So yeah. Well, Leif, we really appreciate you taking time and out of your schedule, and you're getting things going down there, and we look forward to talking to you more in the future, and hopefully getting down there and seeing you, and maybe coming down for an off-road event or 2 or 3 or a week or whatever. Just
Rubicon.
Yeah,
Let's do the
absolutely.
Rubicon.
Yeah,
just destroy our trucks.
No, we do this. You take his truck, you take your truck, I'll take the wilderness, and you guys just drag me through.
Honestly, we're going to be the ones who need to get dragged through. You need a short wheelbase in that place.
Yeah.
I don't have. I got open diffs too. So.
We can go do some desert stuff.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
We can jump the Subaru.
Okay, well, why not?
It's a lease. It's fine.
I'm in for
I'm
that.
gonna buy it, but yeah, okay.
Nothing handles like a rental.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, great chatting with you guys.
I don't know if this is a healthy. I was gonna say, I don't know if this is a healthy friendship between the three of us. This could get dangerous. And then his girlfriend's gonna blame us for all the motorcycles he's buying now.
See, what you need to do is you need to come up and visit us and
Yeah.
bring her with you.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend will take her for a drive in her R8. And then she'll be like, I need one of these. Be like, yes, you do, honey.
Yeah.
She
That's
hell of an
how you
upgrade.
get them.
yeah, she's gonna
Trap
want to
her.
remodel the house before we remodel what's inside the garage. Sadly, so I think I got a bit of time.
Yeah.
She's smart.
I just grabbed some
She
paint
sees
color.
through.
Yeah.
She sees through my mirages of the happy endings with the car stuff. So
She's a lawyer, you said, right?
yeah. So
Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good luck.
Yeah.
I want to hope for you, but we both know it's not going to happen.
So I'm smart. This is why I
Excellent.
built everything beforehand. No kids, no anything.
that's
I already
smart,
got 2 race cars. I got the bikes, got everything. So think ahead, people.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
I like it.
If there's one thing to take away from this
Remember-
podcast,
and we'll-
build your cars and vehicles before.
We'll look back in years and go, remember when Leif had all that stuff?
What were you saying? Take away from the podcast?
I was saying, build all your toys before you have responsibilities.
That's true.
Yeah.
Make your toys your responsibilities. Yeah.
Or you just get our age and don't have kids.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
true.
buy a
Yeah.
lot of toys.
Thanks. Yeah.
Lots of things to take
Excellent.
away.
Well, thanks again. We really appreciate it. We look forward to having you back on in a future episode.
Oh,
I guess.
definitely.
Yeah, come visit. We'll do a live one.
For this episode of the Avants podcast, as always, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.